what actually brought you on a project something like this? Where initially it all came from?
It started off as a script I wrote in film school, like ages ago, like 17, 16 years ago. And when I wrote it, it wasn't really as a mind to sell it. It was just sort of like a cool sandbox to play in, because I wasn't living in Hollywood or anything. I went to film school in North Carolina. And even in the course of writing it, thought to myself, I'm going to have to finish this before I get out of school, because then I'm going to have to write something that'll sell. But it became the thing that got me the most. It was on the first blacklist, ages ago, and really like jump-started my whole career. But because it was so strange and not really based on anything that had come before, it was hard to get made. It was hard to finance. So even though everyone in the town really liked it and responded to it, it sort of languished in development hell for a while until Legendary came along and was like, have you ever thought about doing this as a TV show?
I mean,
the ball started rolling really quickly.
I mean, the best thing I thought that you actually merged like those 1880s steampunk type of almost ideas with fantasy. I mean, was that what did you do? Like pick and choose what elements?
Kind of. I mean, yeah. It was sort of a combination of, I think, a lot of things that were running together in my head at the time. Like I was. I had taken a trip to England and seen the strange production of Midsummer Night's Dream, but also I was reading like books on like Celtic lore, and it just sort of I'm not quite sure how it all came together, but instinctively in building the world, I knew that like coming into it as an audience, that the world was strange enough that I felt like the audience needed an anchor point. And so that's where you get sort of the noir stuff happening, is that I think we get those conventions, very, very quickly, and it becomes a reassurance to an audience member who's watching it, like, oh, I know this, I can digest this. It's very big and it feels very strange, but I'm going to keep watching because I kind of understand where it's going.
Is it more exciting for you that it's taken so long for this to get made, and now that it's finally happened, you're like just happier about it than it would have happened later?
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely, yeah. It's the fact that it's getting made right now, I think, is really it's much more exciting than if it had, because there were times, being in development hell, it's a sad place to be, because you have people coming along and being like, oh, you could do it like this, and you can change this, and so people asking, like, when's it coming out? And I would say there are worse things than it never coming out, which is it coming out the wrong way. And
15 years ago, they might not have been able to make it the way you can do it now.
Exactly. It's now we're really able to do justice, and I watch it and I think to myself, this is what would have excited me. This is the version that I'm really most excited about.
Now, the themes, immigration, racism, and all that, it seems more relevant today as opposed to 15 years ago. I mean, did you foresee it's going to be like this topical?
I wish I could take credit for that, but also I think, it was, I would say, if anything, it's tacked a little bit more towards immigration, and originally it was a bit more about racism. But I think as the immigration crisis, in Europe and in the U.S. has been, escalating, that's really colored it. And the fact that these are immigrants from a distant shore has really become more relevant in the narrative as well. But it's really, I think, always been about different classes and different peoples and how they interact, and really I've been most concerned with exploring that stuff dramatically, and I honestly don't know where it came from. It just sort of I wish I could be more articulate about that, but it really just sort of fell together in my head when I was in film school.
As we are at Comic-Con, when I was a kid, I aspired to be Luke Skywalker. Who did you aspire to be when you were a kid?
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, I probably aspired to be like the Rancor. I was really into monsters when I was a kid. Really, really into monsters. And so much so that if like I'm watching a movie, I'm just waiting for the monster to show up. And you see a little bit of that in this. You'll find out as you watch the season. But we have a monster of our own in season 1, and it's really. I love it. I love it. It's such a cool creature. I can't wait for people to see what it looks like.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.